Hey up guys, S-Man back at it again with a brand new Horizons review. Now, I'm behind on these and I'm recording a lot of these on the same day, so let's just get right into the review. Here we are, folks, the start of the Kitakami arc. And let's just get right into this. Basically, the Rise of Volt Tacklers arrive at Kitakami, the main villains you arrive at Kitakami, looking for Briar, and they notice that nobody is in town. So they ask one of the few people they see, the woman who actually runs the mochi shop that Petrant sat outside, and you even see in the background, there is no Petrant there. So who has Petrant? Maybe someone who didn't appear in this episode? Kieran. But yeah, the mochi shop owner tells the Rising Boat Tacklers about a local festival where all the townspeople are, and they decide that they should go in order to see if anyone knows where Briar is. They all arrive at the festival, and they all want to have a good time, especially Freed, which he's the first one to run off on his own to have fun. After seeing Carmine and her Sincha, Freed wants to study this rare Kitakami Pokemon, and Carmine laughs him off being because he is a foreigner. Gotta love that they brought Carmine's racism in the anime. That was one of the her key points in the games, and her overcoming her racism. But I don't know. Where's Kieran? That's all I gotta really say. I'm gonna say more about Carmine at the end because a lot of my thoughts about her I'm gonna save for later on. Cause yeah, but it is cool seeing her, and it's kind of weird that it's Freed who's interacting with her the whole episode, but I kind of like it. Cause especially when the other kids had to plot this episode, but seeing as in later episodes, random characters are interacting with other characters that random characters are interacting with people like Perrin compared to the rest of the gang. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, Freed and Carmine decide that Carmine will let Freed study Poltergeist if she beats her in a challenge. Basically, they're running around all the booths competing, and we cut to them a couple times during the episode, which I'll discuss more later on, because the rest of the Legend Boat Tacklers all have their own individual plots. Basically, but they all get to that when they get to the episode because they all split off. All the adults go off and do their own thing while the kids stick together, and suddenly Roy and Crocolar split off on their own, smelling something good, and accidentally wandering down an alley where there's a strange old guy and the synchro machine, which that's kind of surprising that that's the thing they use in the anime, especially because the synchro machine was something introduced in the Blueberry Academy, and they even reference oh, somebody was traveling with this and dropped it, so maybe either the creator or maybe Carmine or even Briar was the one who brought the synchro machine here to Kitakami. But it is fun seeing the synchro machine, and it does work a little differently than in the games, because in the games when you use the synchro machine, it's basically just you as the player controlling the Pokemon instead. But here in the anime, because technically they're all individual characters with all personalities, instead of the player now taking control of the Pokemon, it instead swaps the consciousness of Roy and Crocolar. So now Crocolar is in Roy's body and Roy's in Crocolar's body, and this freaks out both Roy, Crocolar, and the dude, because the dude just saw this cool thing and was like, hey, what if I put on a booth to show this thing I found off, because it's pretty cool. Especially because Kitakami seems to be a place lacking in technology, because it's more of a traditional rural town. But yeah, a cool detail with the body switch is instead of Roy not being able to communicate and speaking Crocolar's name, he's developing full fluent sentences in Crocolar's voice. I can't wait to see the dub of this. If Zeno Robinson still plays Crocolar, that would be so funny to hear. But yeah, and Crocolar only says its variations of its name while in Roy's voice, which it does get it's funny because this is an example. Later on, somebody who doesn't know what's going on will ask Roy a question, and one of the words in Crocolar's Japanese name can translate to no, so it's basically him saying no to them the whole time. So yeah, but yeah. The dude tells Roy, begs Roy actually to keep the whole synchro machine a secret while he tries to repair it because after they used it, it malfunctioned. Because he doesn't want to panic the people of this town because of how I forgot if he might have said because of how like simple and calm the people of the town are. But yeah, that's when Crocolar and Roy's body runs off and Roy has to chase after him and he realizes, well, damn, Coco is heavy when he evolved. So he gets down on all fours and starts crawling. Crocolar runs into Liko and Dot and they immediately realize what's going on, so Roy has to explain. Meanwhile, Freed and Carmine are still competing over carnival games, and this actually leads into. Let me finish off their whole plot because we do, like I said, they come back and forth. We see them just competing in like basic carnival games, like let's see who can get the better prize. This like the Squid Games, like Cookie Cutter, where we see a reference to the Fat Pikachu, and then eventually leads into a battle between Freed and Carmine, which it was a fun little battle. Like it wasn't meant to be anything big. It was just like them trading moves back and forth, and Freed beats Carmine. And this pisses off Carmine because she just lost to an outsider and she's racist. So basically, her reactions in the game. The rest of the episode is mainly just about the kids trying to hide the fact that Crocolar and Roy switched bodies, and they're just running into rising Voltaires. For example, they run into Murdoch, and Murdoch's like, "Oh, what's up, kids? Want to hang out? I'll buy you whatever you want." So he buys them all candy apples, and when Roy accidentally burns one in Crocolar's body, Murdoch actually becomes obsessed with this tasty treat and wants Crocolar to make him one. But they obviously all play it off because Roy can't control his flames that good. And this actually leads into like a funny detail in the next episode. But yeah, that's what Murdoch is. Poor guy. He just wanted to hang out with his friends and his niece, and they all just ditched him because of the thing that's going on with Crocolar. But yeah, they're wandering around some more and see that Molly has actually started basically a clinic out in the wilderness because, like in most anime, people in their yukatas and their little sandals hurt their feet bad, and we just see a bunch of like kids who like go through the stereotypical, oh yeah, I get blisters on my feet because of wearing my the sandals that go with the yukata. And that's when Roy, Liko, and Dot all feel bad, so they decide to help out. Where there is one special girl, where here's the thing. This girl was actually in the game. I didn't know this. I was like somebody pointed out, hey, isn't this one of the trainers in the game? And then if you go on I went on Bulbapedia and found out she is actually a trainer that you fight during I think near the festival when you're going up the stairs. But yeah, there's actually some lore that goes on with her that I'm going to discuss later because it is actually kind of crazy. But yeah, Roy and Crocolar specifically help out this girl. He's like, because like I said, Crocolar can only say its name. It's basically just splitting a word, so it sounds like. So a lot of the words are just basically words that so happen to relate. Like, so it's basically telling her to put bandages on her feet. So she does, puts back on her sandals, but oh no, it snaps and she begins to fall over. And that's when Roy gets on all fours and catches her. I'm sorry, Crocolar Roy gets on all fours and catches her, and she falls in love with Roy. Which I think that's such a funny detail because especially because Roy wasn't even in his body. But yeah, moving on, the kids run into Orla, who's trying to repair a Sakabaki. I don't know how to say the food, but one of those foods you always see in anime festival because the stove broke and there's a whole line of people who really want to enjoy some of it. They all feel bad when that's when Crocolar comes up with the idea to basically heat it up for the people. And we also get focused on this one little boy who's really disappointed. But yeah, he fails at first, but then Crocolar realizes, hey, when I used to struggle with my flames, you know what really got me going? Our song. So in his voice, as Roy, he starts singing the song, and it hypes up Roy like he used to do for Crocolar, and he's able to heat up the pan to make all the food. And that's when, like I said, the little kid runs up to Crocolar, thanks him, and even says, I want to start with Crocolar, but this kid's kind of stupid because it would obviously be a Foy Coco that he has to start with. That's when the Synchro Machine Man finds Roy and Crocolar and tells him that they fixed the machine. Roy and Crocolar switched back, they actually loved the experience because it got them basically to grow even stronger as friends, which I loved it. This episode was so fun. Like, I thought it was such a weird thing at first, especially with like, oh, it's an episode about the synchro machine and Roy and Quickoko switching places, and this is how you debut Kitakami and some characters. But I really loved it because it just showed like, because like it's technically not filler, but it also has like a lot of fillery aspects, but it's fun fillery aspects where it's just like all the characters just hanging out doing stuff, and like even Roy and Coco doing some bonding, along with pushing the plot forward. Because I'll mention after this part, Liko and Dot were hiding in the bush, and they begged the dude to let them use the machine, but it's broken actually, so they decided it's probably better off to let it be, and maybe let the owner try to, or the guy's gonna try to find the owner and tell him what happened with the machine. But yeah, basically, all the Volt tacklers, they meet back up after enjoying the festival, and that's when Carmine is still harassing Freed, wanting to do some more challenges and being more racist to hurt him because he's an outsider. Because I guess she has nothing to do with her life, because where the hell is her brother? Like, her brother's just MIA, so she's harassing this, like, 30-year-old dude. So yeah, he basically says, I can't challenge you anymore, I have to go look for Briar. When that's when she says, oh yeah, Briar's my teacher at school, and she's like currently at the Crystal Pool. But because you're an outsider, you can't go to the Crystal Pool. And I'm racist. I'm Carmine. Bah bah bah. And that's when my goat, the caretaker, I don't know why, even from the games, he was just a real one. Like, the caretaker was always like my goat. Like, he's just one of those NPC characters that you wouldn't think is like this like legend, but like, he is. He's always helping you out. He's such a goat. I love the caretaker. He actually reveals this hidden meets the lore that the girl that Roy saved earlier, who I said was like one of the random trainers, is his daughter, and it's because they helped her out, and she also has a crush on Roy. He's gonna let them visit the Crystal Pool, pissing off Carmine even more, and that's how the episode ends with Freed and the kids getting ready to go visit Briar. Overall, like I said, I love this episode. It's fun. It was a fun little fillery episode, and also like was a decent introduction to Kitakami, because I don't know how long we're staying here, and we're obviously not gonna get the main plot points with Ogre-Pon and anything, especially because like where's Kieran? But that's also like another interesting thing. If we're not gonna get Ogre-Pon or even Pecharon, what is the timeline of events? Like, did the ogre stuff already happen or no? Because the festival they visited wasn't even the ogre festival. It was like an apple festival, because like of a great apple harvest. So that's definitely an interesting fact. And another adding on to that part, this Carmine hasn't even gotten her development. So like the Ogre-Pon stuff couldn't have happened unless like she's like secretly still racist, which I don't really get how that would work. And especially because like later on, the episode with Briar hasn't came out yet. That's like this week's episode as of recording it, because like I said in the last review, I was sick and I decided to take a break from doing reviews and just videos in general. But yeah, the only really problem I had this episode was Carmine, and I said this to one of my friends, like she kind of seemed like annoying. She was annoying in the game, but like she had like the development to like actually feel good. But like realistically here, she's just really annoying and like insufferable. And she just harassed me the entire episode on a basis. But that's when my goat caretaker like stepped in. I'm happy the caretaker did justice. We can never see him again, and I'm gonna be happy that he got this one scene done justice. But if we do see him again, I'm gonna be so happy, because the caretaker is literally my goat. Like, I can't express this enough. The caretaker is probably one of my favorite people from Paldea. Not Patella, actually. He's technically not even Paldean. From Kitakami. He's my favorite Kitakami civilian. But yeah. Overall, I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10. The main like problem I had, like I said, is the Carmine stuff. Besides that, I really liked all the episode. And it was also nice, like, getting like more scenes with the Volt Tacklers compared to last week, where it's just like, hey, this is my general area you see me in. It's rebuilt. Alright, goodbye, kids. But yeah. Hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe for more content like this future. Leave a comment about your thoughts on this episode, because the Kitakami slash Cleavor slash Crystal Pool, like, I don't really know where this is going, arc has begun.